Howdy, lieutenants and economists.
The most volatile, evil, disgusting things on the planet, humans. If you have a video request, you can always go to assholeconsulting.com.
Yeah, I am gonna charge you, kids. And that is the importance of not fucking up.
You are such an asshole!
All right, this client wanted to just provide a PSA about men going into the field of nursing, which I generally have a positive opinion about, both men and women. There are some opportunities, especially if you become a specialized nurse, be it a nurse practitioner or a specialist, that you can make darn good money. Not quite doctor levels of money, but, 6 figs, and you don't have to go to med school. I mean, there's a fair amount of education, but you don't have to go, it just isn't worth becoming a doctor. So he writes, he wants my opinion on this. Hey, Aaron, thanks again for all your work. I felt in these troubling times for men, especially young men, who are at the crossroads of what they want to do with their lives. I can give one short answer with backup from my stories. Do not go into nursing. Your videos in the past telling those who go into nursing is a great thing is understandable. After all, it pays well, you always have a job, and it is important, interesting work. However, I recommend, based on my experience, to not do it. Here's why. I was young and idealistic when I graduated high school. Oh, boy. See, now I got a question whether this guy's legit. Because he did not use the prepositional phrase from. You graduate from high school. You don't graduate high school. You don't go down to the high school store, buy a high school, and you graduate it into a college. You graduate from high school. I graduated from high school 5 years ago. I went for the pursuit of nursing as I was doing gen eds at the local community college. I also became a nursing assistant in the emergency room. If you were to tell me then to guess why the medical field would not work out, I would have answered I couldn't deal with the illness or death. No, that was not the issue at all, as it just reality and part of the job. It's just reality and part of the job. It was my female colleagues. I was completely blown away with the unprofessionalism, lack of work ethic, and drama that I had to deal with from the year and a half I did the job. As a young guy, they latched onto me emotionally, dropping their bullshit on me, which I didn't want part of, and even physically. The nurses and nursing assistants in their late 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s would slap my ass, rub my shoulders, make gross comments on how thought I would be at sex. Dude, type out your shit. See, I got a question now. Are you legit? Are you missing some things here, dude? Because you wrote this very poorly, right? How thought I would be at sex? Well, then you go to HR. Guys, it's interesting. Got 2 HR questions in a row. Could you imagine if it was the other way around? But did you go to HR? Look, if it was bothering you, look, okay, punch in the shoulder. Even with guys, I could see the old locker room slap on the ass. Hey, Kratowski, slap on the ass. Again, choose your battles. But if they're, if you didn't like it, did you go to HR? And is it just this one place? See, because I hate to just dismiss an entirely legitimate field of nursing because you may have ran into a bad batch of nurses or a bad hospital or wherever you were working. Could you imagine if it was the other way around? One nurse even said she would fuck me in front of her colleagues. She was fat, old, and gross, and a whore, so no thanks. Some of the young, cute, sexy nurses that occasionally flirted I liked, but even then I would not do it back with them, though I could be reported and lose my job. It does not stop there. Due to everyone being brainwashed, the men are sexual predators. Most of the female patients wouldn't even let me do my job. I would ask if they wanted help putting on their hospital gown or say had to do an EKG or pretty much my job, and they would call me a rapist, molester, pervert, talk about a double standard. I'm getting harassed by these gross, annoying nurses. Meanwhile, I'm just trying to do my job and being called a rapist and a molester. I'm not exaggerating when I say that it was close to half of the female patients that said acted like this. Compound that with watching what has happened to people like Brett Kavanaugh with the right here. But see, you're the victim. Look, I have no sympathy for you. I got to be honest. Did you go to HR? Once something unacceptable happened, like the nurse saying, I'd fuck you right in front of all these people. Dude, I would immediately, not even necessarily go to HR, I'd start recording that shit, getting proof of it. Then I go to HR. Say, this is not acceptable. And if it's that rampant, you see, I just have a hard time because I've known nurses, male and female, and they're professionals. This just sounds like you're in a bad hive, man. This is a bad place to work. You're in a toxic, well, I hate to use the phrase, you actually are in a toxic work environment. And this almost goes into the realm of, not only do you go to HR, but you go talk to a lawyer if this type of stuff is happening. Because if this is true, which I have no reason to doubt, the only reason I have to doubt is that no one else reported these people to HR. Maybe HR is deaf. Like, they're like, we don't care. But if this is not acceptable as a work environment at all for any sexist. But what did you do to stop it? Or is it just you got a bad rap on it, you got a bad luck of the draw in this one place of employment? I'm not exaggerating when I say acted like this. Formulates to you losing your sanity. To be clear, there's a correlation on the level of education in nursing and professionalism. The nursing assistants, which is what I was, were mostly gross, trashy, lazy bitches. All right, is that the lowest ranked one? All I know is nurse practitioners up top. There was a slight bump in professionalism with the RN, so it's in bachelor's, but not by much. The nurse practitioners and physician's assistants, and especially physicians, were hard workers and professional. There! It's like accounting guys and gals. When it comes to accounting, you either go big or you go home. You go CPA or not at all. You don't bother with accounting. And this is exactly one of the main reasons, because I have seen, when I worked security, I had to deal with chatty catty nurses. They didn't really bother me. But it's just like, geez, I don't want to, you don't want to be the low ranked one. I understand it. This is why nurse practitioner or go home. Right? Deal with this shit. So I'm still standing by, like, yeah, you go in with a bachelor's, get some work. Wow, you think there's going to be some office gossip amongst female nurses at the third shift? You think, huh? Yeah. Do you think guys might fart and belch and swear and curse in the oil Bakken field? Probably. You think there might be some penis jokes slung back and forth? Probably. Well, that's what... Do you want to change the world, or are you going to change you and adapt to the world? That's why you go nursing practitioner or go home. Obviously, there are exceptions to each category. I would even recommend people to steer clear of medicine in general between the over-regulations. It's fucking terribly bad. Disgusting drug addict alcohol slobs that shouldn't even be getting health care. Your taxes are paying for them. And push for Medicare for all by these dumbass Democrat politicians who have never taken care of a patient before. It has diluted and complicated the field, which leads to severe burnout. It's sad to say, because I did like a good portion of my job in the field, but between the bitchy psycho nurses and the shit I just mentioned, medicine is essentially dead. Well, if you want. These are the times we live in. If you're a guy right now, you're in a lose-lose situation. It is sad to see, as I think this is an example of what's wrong with the country. Here's the socioeconomic correlation. Since World War II, the labor force participation rate has dropped in men and risen in women. Want to know what else has risen over the past few decades? Depression, drug abuse, single mothers. Well, that doesn't really necessarily have anything to do with that trend. I'd say it's more divorce and broken homes, but that's just me. Today, women are trying to bully their ways to the top of corporate America. They are still not happy people, and I feel like most guys are just standing back because we do not know what to do. Well, men are not. You can't, unless you want to become a tyrant and start breaking laws or become an actual tyrant. You shouldn't be doing. Let people do what they want. There are times in the world people will make mistakes. Housingbubble.com crash. Anybody? Education bubble. Sometimes you just got to learn. But you're not supposed to do anything. It's not your right to do anything. Women want to pursue a career, they have every right to go pursue a career with the pros and cons that come with it. I could definitely see the reason behind the growing MGTOW movement. Women have essentially boxed themselves out if they have become so repulsive based on my experience. But I don't think living a life with no optimism is good either. My recommendation for guys my age is exercise on a regular basis, have only a few good friends, and take your work and academics seriously. Major something that will actually get you a good job and enjoy your life. Oh, and for Christ's sake, read. Detach yourself from bullshit television and read. Notification knowledge is power. Hopefully things simmer down, but until we live in a very hypocritical world that is filled with double standards in favor of women's. Thanks, Aaron. Let me know what you think. Okay, I'll be honest. I think you're young and you're naive. You just found out now that there's double standards and the world is not perfect. I would hope this is not universal. Like you've worked several places, this is universal. But if it is, you got to leave, dude. And you didn't do anything to stop it. You didn't go to HR. You didn't go. That's when you spent all this time, effort, and money getting a degree in nursing, the low-ranked one, and then you're just going to give up on it because you had a bunch of bad apples. I still stand by the nursing field. When I did work, with nurses, it was not this hellish. Never ran into something like that. The nurses were professional. Yes, there was chatty caffeine going on. Yes, there was a little bit of drama, but nothing like this. Dude, fight for your career, all right? Go to HR. If that happened, go to HR. But I cannot recommend to men not to go into nursing. But I will. I'll tell you, yeah, don't bother going to get your associates in nursing. I mean, what, you're going to be an ass wiper. Okay, good for you. Have fun. You're nurse practitioner or go home. That's it. And then also, son, I'm going to tell you this. You're going to have to get used to just building a huge tough skin in the working world and letting petty shit go. Having women, spanking in the ass, being called a rapist or a molester, I understand that. That's not fun. Rub your shoulder, gross comments on how you think you like it. That's crossing the line. I mean, all these are crossing the legal line. But you gotta do something about it. You gotta do it. But more importantly, no job is perfect. None. And you sound like a 23-year-old who just discovered the red pill in Midtown. Like, oh my God! And on your treatise on we gotta fight back. You're bringing in labor force participation rates. No. You're not changing the world. Men aren't going to. No, the rules are against it. You're not going to be able to do anything. You control your micro environment. You control your immediate environment. And so I think that, like every other guy, you just don't graduate from college and walk into a great job and there's no problems. And if there's real problems like this, yes, you go to HR. Absolutely. But I'm not going to recommend men and women don't become nurse practitioners. All right? If for any other reason, as well as the ladies, if you want to become a nurse practitioner or a physician's assistant or something serious, by God, here's another. Do you want to be involved in the chatty Cathy gossip and office politics and bullshit? Okay, don't look at nurse practitioner or go home. Right? It's the same thing here. You didn't go nurse practitioner. You're the lowest ranked nurse right now. Dude, probably you could even say this about a lot of the associate's degree type people, because I taught at a community college that issued associate's degrees. That's like the worst of all worlds, because they aren't high school dropouts or high school graduates with no education beyond that, where they actually might be humbled. But nor are they like actually got a real degree like a bachelor's. So they're not actually that smart or hardworking. And so when they get their associates, they got the attitude without the ability. And that's what I saw when I was teaching at the community. And that's what, not always, of course there's no 100% correlation, but dude, you're in a pretty, what's the selection bias? I mean, if you said, Aaron, work with a bunch of high school dropouts or work with a bunch of people who have associate's degrees, I'm like, give me the dropouts. Give me the GEDs, because at least they'll listen, man. At least they'll listen. So there you go. All right, questions, answers, assholeconsulting.com. Links down below. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.